Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to commemorate the approaching somber first anniversary of Hamas's horrific attack on Israel on October 7, 2023. This past year, we have experienced continued heartbreak and mourning, with fresh pain rearing its ugly head each time we learn the tragic fate of hostages who were captured that fateful day and subsequently murdered by their captors. Just a few weeks ago, on the eve of a rescue operation, Hamas executed 6 hostages in cold blood, including American Hirsch Goldberg, Poland. It was a gut punch. After surviving absolutely horrific conditions for nearly a year, they were brutally murdered by Hamas in the tunnels below Gaza, all because their rescue was imminent and because of Hamas's hatred of Jews and their commitment to destroy Israel. As a Jewish mother of 3, meeting with so many parents of the hostages, including Hirsch's parents, Rachel and John, has felt deeply personal. Their fortitude and strength in advocating for the return of their children is nothing less than heroic. I've met with Rachel and John countless times this past year, and something that always sticks with me is when Rachel shared her last embrace with Hirsch before he left for the Nova Music Festival for his 23rd birthday. No mother should ever have to think that when they kiss their child goodbye before a concert, it will be for the last time because they will be murdered by terrorists. This senseless evil compels us to hold our own children tighter and strengthens our resolve to end the terrorist threat that lives on Israel's doorstep, which no people should have to endure. I was in the region with a congressional delegation on October 7th and in Israel on October 10th. Since October 7th, I've traveled to Israel twice more. During a visit in March, the most searing moment for me was when our delegation paid our respects at the site of the Nova Festival. The Nova Festival was a celebration of peace. Thousands of young people joined together in the desert to celebrate life. At sunrise, terrorists invaded the site, including flying in on motorized paragliders, with the sole objective of murdering, maiming, sexually assaulting, and kidnapping festival-goers and hundreds of Israelis in their homes. No parent should fear getting the text that so many received that morning from their children that the worst has happened. And when you go to the Nova site today, you see memorials and photos of the beautiful, vibrant faces of the hundreds of young people marked where they were murdered. As a mother, a Jew, and a Zionist, the experience was overwhelming. Despite the horror and ongoing tragedy of the almost 100 hostages that still remain in Gaza, ripped away from their loved ones for almost 365 days, the people of Israel are strong and will never stop fighting for their future. I am inspired by those Israelis who have dedicated themselves to bringing the hostages home and seeking a just peace. But October 7th didn't just impact Jews living in Israel. It impacted Jews around the world, especially here at home. While anti-Semitism was already on the rise after October 7th, Jewish hate exploded, reaching record levels of anti-Semitic incidents in the United States. According to ADL, since it first started tracking incidents of anti-Semitic harassment, vandalism, and assault in the United States in 1979, this past year resulted in the highest number of anti-Semitic incidents on record. The American Jewish Committee found that 2/3 of American Jews say the status of Jews in the U.S. is less secure compared to 1 year ago, and 62% of American Jews report facing anti-Semitism online or on social media in the past 12 months. This is unacceptable. But anti-Semitism doesn't just threaten Jews. It is an attack on the very foundations of our society: pluralism, religious freedom, equal rights, endangering all of us. I am so grateful for President Biden and Vice President Harris's moral clarity and leadership in combating anti-Semitism. In May 2023, their administration took the unprecedented step to release the U.S.'s first ever whole-of-society national strategy to counter anti-Semitism. We must combat this hatred, and I urge all of my colleagues to call out anti-Semitism no matter where it comes from. And lastly, I have a plea for my colleagues. When you are home in your districts, please check in on your Jewish friends and neighbors. We are not okay. Local Jewish organizations are planning events around the October 7th anniversary, so I implore you to reach out and show up for your Jewish neighbors and constituents. Speak out against anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, which is a form of anti-Semitism. Together, We will stand up against hate and stand up for Israel, and we will never forget the victims, the hostages, and their families. We must bring them all home now. Am Israel Chai. I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back. The chair